Most parents do not damage their child's confidence with one terrible sentence. They do it with ordinary sentences repeated hundreds of times. What sounds like discipline to you can slowly become identity inside your child's mind. Years later, they may still hear those words long after the moment is forgotten. In this video, you'll see what children actually learn from 8 common phrases and why those lessons often have nothing to do with what parents intended. It's the end of a long day. Your child spills juice across the kitchen floor. You take a deep breath and say, "You always do this." A few minutes later, the moment is over. You clean the mess. Your child goes back to playing. Life moves on. You weren't trying to hurt them. You were tired. You were frustrated. You just wanted the behavior to stop. The same thing happens when you say, "Stop crying. You're fine. Because I said so." Most parents already know these phrases are not ideal. Many still use them. The problem is not usually the sentence itself. The problem is what the child's brain learns each time that sentence is repeated. Children rarely hear words exactly the way adults mean them. You hear correction. They may hear something about who they are. A child who hears comparison may learn that worth must be earned. A child who hears emotional dismissal may learn that feelings should stay hidden. A child who hears labels may eventually turn those labels into identity. None of that happens overnight. It happens through repetition. Before children develop their own inner voice, they borrow yours. That is why some everyday phrases shape far more than behavior. Let's start with one of the most common. Most parents worry about making big mistakes, but few notice the tiny sentences repeated every single day. Imagine you're cleaning the kitchen after a long, exhausting day. Your child accidentally spills a drink on the floor, and you react automatically. In that exact moment, your child's brain isn't just processing what happened. It's quietly translating the event into a much deeper emotional meaning. The most damaging parenting habits rarely feel damaging when they happen. In that moment, your mind probably flashes with one familiar thought. "I've told them this 100 times already." But you don't realize that these subtle meanings, when repeated day after day, slowly become your child's core identity. The truth is, children remember less of what actually happened, and more of what it meant about who they are. And there is one classic phrase that teaches them that wrong lesson faster than almost any other. Most parents worry about making big mistakes, but few notice the tiny sentences repeated every single day. Imagine your child proudly runs up to you, showing off a decent test score they just worked hard for. But immediately, you mention their sibling who scored even higher. In an instant, it feels as if their small victory is wiped clean from the slate. Their brain instantly links acceptance to performance ranking. Many parents tell themselves, "I'm just trying to motivate them." But comparison does not create confidence. It creates a brutal competition for approval. The hidden cost is lifelong insecurity, deep sibling resentment, and an endless cycle of seeking external validation. A child cannot build their own identity while constantly measuring someone else's. But comparison is not the only shortcut parents use. One mistake feels temporary. A label feels permanent. Think about these tiny moments, a forgotten homework assignment or a lost pair of shoes, and you repeat that familiar phrase, "You always mess everything up." In that exact second, the child's brain stops hearing a temporary behavior. It starts hearing a permanent definition. Many parents tell themselves, "I just need them to take responsibility." But the truth is, children rarely argue with labels. They grow into them. The hidden cost is low confidence, reduced effort, and a state of learned helplessness. When a child believes they genuinely always mess up, they simply stop trying. The sentence lasts much longer than the mistake, and nowhere is that more dangerous than within their emotions. The crying may stop, but the lesson often stays. Imagine your child just loses a simple game. Tears appear immediately, and you react with that familiar phrase, "Stop crying. It's not a big deal." In that exact second, the child's brain learns a painful rule. Expressing vulnerable emotions leads to rejection. Many parents tell themselves, "I just need this meltdown to stop right now." But the truth is, emotions do not disappear when ignored. The hidden cost is devastating. It creates deep-seated anxiety, habitual emotional suppression, and a painful emotional distance later in life. A hidden feeling is still a feeling. Sometimes parents do not silence emotions. They simply dismiss them. The problem looks small to you. It does not feel small to them. Imagine your child gets excluded by friends at a party. They come home feeling deeply hurt and upset. But you dismiss it with that familiar phrase, "You're fine, it's not a big deal." In that exact second, the child's brain learns a hard lesson. Vulnerability is not useful. Many parents tell themselves, "I just don't want them to be so sensitive." But the truth is, children do not stop feeling when ignored. They stop sharing. The hidden cost is quiet withdrawal, a breakdown in communication, and struggles that they will now keep entirely a secret. Being understood matters much more than being fixed, and this is where most parents miss the larger pattern. None of these phrases seem life-changing until they are repeated for years. Think about what we just uncovered: a spilled drink, an imperfect test score, or a single tear. The danger is rarely the individual sentence. The danger is the repetition. Over time, the repeated language of a parent becomes the internal language of the child. Many parents later tell themselves, "I never meant it that way." But the truth is, an entire identity has already formed around fear, shame, or the desperate need for approval. Most parents think children remember the discipline, but children remember what the discipline taught them about themselves. And the next phrase often turns love into something children feel they must earn. Correction is painful, but disconnection is terrifying. Imagine your child just tells you a lie. Instead of yelling, you look at them with heavy eyes and say, "I'm so disappointed in you." In that exact second, the child's brain doesn't just think about the lie. It instantly links making a mistake with a total loss of emotional connection. Many parents tell themselves, "They need to know this matters." But the truth is, many children fear losing your approval much more than they fear any punishment. The hidden cost is extreme perfectionism, chronic people-pleasing, and a paralyzing fear of failure. Their behavior should feel at risk of discipline, but your love should never feel at risk. However, other children respond differently. They stop listening entirely. Authority solves today's problem. Understanding solves tomorrow's. Imagine your child curiously asks why they have to do something. Instead of explaining, you end the conversation immediately with that familiar phrase, "Because I said so." In that exact second, the child's brain learns a dangerous rule. Compliance matters, but reasoning does not. Many parents tell themselves, "I just don't have time to explain everything." But the truth is, compliance and character are not the same thing. The hidden cost is poor internal decision-making in the future, and a sudden wave of rebellion the moment authority disappears. Rules make much more sense when children understand the reason behind them. Obedience without understanding rarely becomes self-discipline. But one final label may be even more damaging. The behavior is obvious. The reason usually isn't. Think about an afternoon when you come home from work. The homework remains untouched, and the chores are left completely unfinished. You instantly react with that familiar label, "You're so lazy." In that exact second, the label ends your curiosity. Labeling is the fastest way to stop investigating what is actually wrong. Many parents tell themselves they just don't care about anything. But the truth is, what looks like laziness is often a different struggle entirely, like a fear of failure or emotional overwhelm. The hidden cost is deep-seated shame, chronic avoidance, and a devastating loss of self-confidence. Behavior is information before it becomes character, and one final phrase can damage hope itself. A moment of frustration can become a memory for years. Think about a heated argument when your anger completely takes over. In that explosion of emotion, you let slip a painful sentence. "You'll never succeed if you keep acting like this." In that exact second, the child's brain accepts that statement as a prophecy for their entire future. They don't just hear your anger, they hear a final verdict. Many parents calm down later and tell themselves, "I was just mad. I didn't actually mean that." But the truth is, children remember painful predictions about their future much longer than they remember any physical punishment. The hidden cost is reduced persistence, a paralyzing fear of trying, and a tragic, self-fulfilling failure. Children must borrow belief from their parents before they can build their own. When that belief is denied, they simply stop trying. Hope disappears long before effort does. Most parenting impact does not come from big decisions. It comes from repeated micro-reactions that quietly teach a child how to see themselves. It is not what you intended in your mind. It is what you consistently did in reality. In the moment, you react to behavior. Over time, your child learns identity from those reactions. The difference is small in your voice. It is large in their inner world. Your words do not disappear after you say them. They continue living as your child's inner voice. Right now, notice the phrase you use most when you are tired. Not the one you are proud of, the one that comes out automatically. That is usually where the real pattern sits. If this helped you see your daily moments differently, you can stay for more grounded parenting perspectives. No pressure, just awareness. Children don't remember every sentence. They remember the tone they grew up inside. #10.